Good Packer Nation Wednesday morning, everybody. Yeah, it is Wednesday, hump day. Getting ready to get on the backside of this week and head toward a weekend. I can't wait till tomorrow. I get to see a little more football. But as you get on, anybody got any love for the Cubbies out there squaring up a series and forcing a Game 7? If you want to jump on and give a shout out to your favorite team in the World Series, go ahead and do that as we get started today. Like I said yesterday, anytime my team, the Brewers, aren't playing in the series, which is pretty much every year, I want to see these things go 7 games. I think it's pretty exciting, and I'm pretty happy about that. To be quite honest, Cubbies winning 9-3, I think it was, last night. So Sean is here. Let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from. We'll do some Packer Nation roll call as we get started today, talking about this big matchup with the Colts. We get to travel back to Lambeau Field and have a game before the Packers have to go on the road seemingly for pretty much for the entire month of November, traveling on the road. So Aaron is here as well. What up from Toledo, Ohio? He says, go Pack, go. Connection is giving me a little bit of trouble already, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, jump right on in, and we'll get started here in just a moment. And I see Aaron asking thoughts on letting Davis go. Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I talked to my friend Rick Motti. I don't know if you're out there, Rick. Hi, Trent. Hi, Jared. How you doing? I missed you yesterday. I saw later on your good day on there. But yeah, I talked to Rick Motti. I don't know if you're on here, Rick, or not today. I hope your appointment went well. But we were talking about Knile Davis and how really our analysis of that, and he made the comment, and I agree with him, that, Ted Thompson just basically didn't want to give up a draft pick. They pulled him in. They let him go. Rowan is here. Good to see you. Carrie is here. Oscar as well. But yeah, here's what happened, okay? So this is in the news now. Ian Rappaport, I think about 7:15 yesterday evening, announced that, the Jets had snapped up Knile Davis, and then they released him and let him go and sign C.J. Spiller. So that's the idea right now, is that Davis is out there and he's a free agent, it looks like right now. And, what we're thinking is now there's the possibility that we can sign him, but we don't have to give up the draft pick. I think that's what Thompson was hoping to do from the start, was get him for a few days, get him in there, but not give up the draft pick, and hoping he cleared waivers. Jeff is here saying good morning. I see the FedEx guy cruising around outside. I got some stuff I'm hoping to get today, so if he pulls up, that will make it interesting, actually. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Again, yesterday, nothing. Kind of true to Ted Thompson, especially this trade deadline. It's not even that exciting anyway, but a lot of Packer Nation was looking for one of two things. Let's pick up a running back, or let's pick up maybe Hayden. There was even talk that Tramon Williams was up for trade, which I would not have been necessarily for. But Sherry says good morning. So we'll see what happens. Again, I always go back to Ted Thompson's MO, and that is really not to do much of anything. So you have to keep your expectations extremely low, or you end up getting really, really freaked out by what Ted Thompson does not do. And we talked about that. Rick and I were going back and forth about this. Well, we weren't going back and forth. We were actually right on the same page about how, long-term management of the team is what I think is Ted Thompson's strength. You've got to go with youth for that. Youth is less expensive. But I think, like a lot of people in Packer Nation, a lot of people in Packer Nation just want to see Thompson swing for the fences one time. Just go out there. And I made the comment yesterday that, the Packers, the Brett Favre era would have ended without a Super Bowl had it not been for the Reggie White signing. And I think we are at the point. We're looking at an Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Rick is here, man. Rick, I hope your appointment went well. I hope you found the place you needed to be. And we are chatting up the Ted Thompson situation. Again, nothing right now, but we'll see. And it looks like Knile Davis is back out after the Jets traded him out for C.J. Spiller. So we'll see what happens with that. And on the other side of that conversation, of course, was the idea that, listen, our defensive backfield is decimated, so should we be going after a defensive back? Well, the fact of the matter is, really, we're looking at none of the above, and that is Ted Thompson's MO. One of these days, I'm hoping that Ted Thompson will swing for the fences. And Jeff is saying he did with Peppers. I don't think Peppers was a swing for the fences because basically the Bears didn't want him, I'm talking about a free agent that the right choice that everybody is after, that we actually have to go out and truly pursue. This is the conversation I had yesterday with Rick. And this is I am getting to the point where I am not sure that Ted Thompson, because he's called Tightwad Ted, and his MO is to not give too much up, I don't think teams really take Ted Thompson seriously. I think Ted Thompson has to get to the point where he puts enough on the table to get a bite, and I don't think he's even getting bites out there much anymore. And I think his reputation is that he's not going to make it worth your while to even waste your time talking to him, and that to me is a big problem down the road. All right, well, it's Wednesday morning. And I didn't see, did anybody have any love for the Cubbies? Evening up the series and forcing a Game 7? Emoji me your feelings on the Cubs. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm glad to see it just keep going to what could be an extremely exciting conclusion. The Cubbies got their sticks a-rolling, I think, with 9 points last night. Wow. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, no trade, nothing much to see, but maybe an open door still with Knile Davis. We'll see what happened. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today, we got some angry, we must have some fans of the tribe out there, I think, not happy about the loss. But we do have Nate Says Go Cubbies. We got a few Go Cubbies out there. Like I've said in the past, I have a sort of indirect relationship with the Cubbies, have traveled to Wrigley Field. I like that both of these teams are there. Just the fact that it's been so long for them. It's not the freaking, it's not the Yankees or whatever every single year. But at any rate, I wanted to mention one thing, okay? When the power rankings come out from time to time, I mention them to you guys. Like I say every time, I don't put much stock in these, but when something interesting pops up, I go ahead and grab it. This time it was interesting. Actually, my son Jonah brought this to me, and he read it to me, and I'm going to read it to you because I thought this was pretty funny because Elliot Harrison, who does the rankings, in trouble for not dropping the Packers far enough after the loss to the Cowboys. And then, of course, we beat the Bears, but, that's the Bears. Well, this is what Elliott said this week. He said, for all the power rankings haters who said their lovely writer had Green Bay too high, here's hoping they watched the game Sunday in Atlanta. The Packers lost by 1 point on the road to a division leader. And I would add to that, the best offense in the league, the highest scoring offense in the league. Yep, a 1 point loss whilst missing their two top running backs, a dynamic hybrid player who was filling in at running back, as well as one of their starting wide receivers. Oh yeah, almost forgot, their top three corners and a premier pass rusher. So basically the whole team. Get off the Packers, everybody. And I thought that was pretty cool. He's got us down at number 7 right now. Again, I could care less, frankly. Even the power ranking right now, really, to me, the AFC-NFC split is much more important right now. Looks like the Cowboys being the team to beat. But yeah, the Packers took a step. They didn't get the win, but they took a step. And I think, like we're going to talk about today, we need to build off that step. We can't rest in our laurels by any stretch of the imagination with this Colts game coming up. All right, so let's do a Circle the Stat where I pull out maybe a stat that you guys weren't aware of, something that jumps out at me or something that I think is actually important. And Sherry is saying, yeah, leave my pack alone. Aaron Rodgers is back, baby. And I think he's on his way back. It was a much better performance, no doubt. We still saw, the closing the game out that we'd like to see. We still saw a few off-target passes. Well, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers that I want to bring up to you. Circle the stat, okay? Now, and we had talked so much about this, and frankly, I gave Aaron Rodgers a bunch of grief on this, but all 4 of Aaron Rodgers' touchdowns in the game against the Atlanta Falcons took almost 3 seconds of time in the pocket. They were were all over 2.6 seconds, especially our red zone. Usually in the red zone or you go 4 wides, the key is to get the ball out fast. Aaron Rodgers, plays were breaking down, but Aaron Rodgers was making connections on the extended plays this time around. Exciting is that I was very happy about that statistic because we've seen it be a problem for Aaron Rodgers in the past. And if you watched my show last week, in the days coming up to the Atlanta Falcons game, I mentioned that Matt Ryan was playing better under pressure than Aaron Rodgers was. Matt Ryan was truly, he's a different player when the pocket breaks down. He's a stand and deliver kind of a guy. Aaron Rodgers is an escape and deliver kind of guy. But Matt Ryan was playing better when the pocket broke down, and Aaron Rodgers, all 4 touchdowns over 2.6 seconds or more. So that was interesting to see. And not only the touchdown passes, but I saw more out of Aaron Rodgers, and I saw a little bit more out of the wide receivers, not just rolling and mirroring the quarterback, but also coming back to the quarterback. This is good stuff that we can build on, and that's a key, I think, for this next game, and I'm going to talk about that. All right, circle the stat. Andrew Luck has been pressured more than 20 times in each of the last 5 games. And the Colts now, of course, we know their record 3-4, and they lost 14-30 against the Chiefs. Chiefs are a good team, but the Chiefs were without their starting. Alex Smith was gone. He went out in the first series in that game with a concussion, came back for a little bit, and then had to go back to the locker room again. And the Chiefs were able to put up 30 against the Colts. So they are a little bit on the outside looking in. They're not mathematically eliminated, but the Titans now are really making a push in the South. And also of course, the Texans are in the lead. Texans may be hurting down the road without JJ, of course, in there. But Bryce, I love this, says, sorry, I'm late. Work should know time stops for the show. All right, man. That's right. Jeez. I mean, just shut down the machines, turn off the computers, just roll it on over. Yeah. But yeah, we're talking about this matchup. Circle the stat. So here's the thing. What do we need to do? These 2 stats to me tell me a couple of things going into kind of an early scouting report for the Packers against the Colts. And one thing on offense, this is obvious, but we got to protect Aaron Rodgers. We've done a good job of that. But one of the things I saw in the game against the Falcons was I did not think that this was the top performance of our offensive line. And that really, to some extent, that hurt us. Because again, we had a running back situation that it made the offensive line play critical in this game. Treader was dinged up in this game. Apparently, there was the Packers.com had the story where he dodged a bullet, basically, with just an MCL strain, which is not a sprain or a tear. He is expected perhaps to be back. We'll check out, of course, today is Wednesday, and we'll have the injury report. But they were not quite as good as they had been in the past, and I think Aaron Rodgers was better. So, we need to have the offensive line develop. Last week, I thought the offensive line was going to be the hero. I really thought that they were going to come on strong in this game. And again, I think they played pretty well, but not quite as good as I had seen them play in the past. So we've got to protect Aaron Rodgers. We got Robert Mathis coming at us, and he can be disruptive. I think, Bakhtiari had a good game against the Falcons, but we're going to have to just be careful and protect Aaron Rodgers in this game. And this is what we talked about we've got 4 touchdowns with over 2.6 seconds or more. Aaron Rodgers needs to build on that and continue to build continuity with these young receivers. Hopefully we get Randall Cobb back. Hopefully we get Ty Montgomery back, but there's no guarantees right now. And Shane is asking that. Do we know if we're getting him back? Well, today's Wednesday, so we'll get the injury report tomorrow. That will probably be a big topic of discussion. The thing that worries me is not hearing anything at all. There's no buzz really of any kind out there. Jared Cook is another guy I would love to see back. I mentioned this. The game against the Chiefs, Kelsey, the tight end for the Chiefs, had a monster game against the Colts. In this game, one of my keys is Richard Rodgers has got to play a better game. He had no separation in this game, and he had some lackluster tackling, I thought, personally. And if we were to hear, I don't expect to get Cook back by any stretch of the imagination, but we need some tight end play, because I think the tight ends in this game against the Colts have an opportunity as almost possession receivers to take time off the clock, to keep moving the chains, but then also to force the Colts to focus on the inside game and open up Jordy Nelson and the shot plays. Maybe Trevor Davis on a shot play. Trevor Davis has showed, he showed in the last game that he can get some things done, and I'm really liking what I see out of that kid. I think I described him as one of the stars in the making at the wide receiver position. And that was interesting because I had that conversation with some people during training camp, because remember, our wide receiver position was so stacked. A lot of people thought Trevor Davis was not even going to be able to make the team, or he was maybe going to hang around as a practice squad player. I held the line that Trevor Davis was going to get out there on the field. He's going to make the team and get out on the field, and that is turning out to be the case. We are going to need not just Trevor Davis, but also Jeff Janis and also Geronimo Allison down the road, it looks like. So Nicholas is saying Richard Rodgers is not going to scare any defense. I think Richard Rodgers could have a really good game against the Colts. One of the reasons for that is because of the Colts injury situation. The other is the fact that the Colts are going to have to they're going to have to focus on Jordy Nelson. And now if we roll out, say, and we have a Trevor Davis, or we get Randall Cobb back, even Ty Montgomery out of the backfield is going to really give the Colts defense fits. And I think Richard Rodgers, if he played a little better, would have a chance of having a really solid game. I'm not calling him a superstar for sure, but yeah, I think there's an opportunity for him. I'd love to have Jared Cook back, however. So, all right, so we need, Aaron Rodgers. We can't rest. Sometimes when you have a good game like this and you feel good about, even though it was a loss, the loss is not as motivating in this game as it might have been in past games. We felt the confidence. We talk about how this loss could still be a confidence booster, but the danger is that we start to go on cruise control, and we cannot afford to go on cruise control against the Colts, guys. And maybe we'll roll into the defense now, because I'm going to tell you something right now. Going into the game against the Chiefs, the Colts were the fourth top scoring team in the league. I think they dropped down to 9th after sort of a poor performance against the Chiefs. But this is a team, and Andrew Luck, who can come out and score a lot of points at any time. We have to play 4 quarters of football. And if you look at, again, teams have been having success by bringing a lot of pressure on Andrew Luck, and his offensive line is struggling. We need to bring pressure early and often. I think it's somewhat the same recipe against Matt Ryan, and with a lot more opportunity. If we bring pressure early and often against Andrew Luck, I think we can have a ton of success. One of the keys to the game, and again, we're going to hear about it tomorrow, is if Clay Matthews can come back and be out on the field for this game. All right? Bryce is here, signing in late from Minnesota. How you doing? We are talking about the defensive, some keys, or early scouting report. If we can get Clay Matthews back, here's my bold prediction. All right, now let me give you, this is another maybe circle the stat for you guys out there. Kansas City played the Colts this past weekend. Kansas City had only 8 sacks on the entire season going into the game against the Colts in the first 2 quarters before the half was done. The Chiefs already had 2 sacks in that game on Andrew Luck. The Packers, my prediction is there is a caveat, if we get Clay Matthews back, we have 5 sacks in this game. That's my bold prediction. Write it down, folks. We need to get there early. We need to get there often. We need to rattle him up and shake him down. And if we get Clay Matthews back, I think it happens. I'd have Clay Matthews with 2. I think Mike Daniels is going to have a monster game against the Colts. Mark my words on that one. I think then Julius Peppers and, of course, Nick Perry with a couple more there. I think we are in the range of getting 5 sacks in this game, okay? All right, one of the things I do want to mention, and this is almost sort of calling out a player, but part of the reason I mention it is because we've been so high on this guy as a rookie from the beginning. Blake Martinez, did not have his best game against the Atlanta Falcons. And a lot of players would not have their best game against the Falcons and against Matt Ryan. And there's a discrepancy in the stats because Pro Football Focus says that Martinez only had 2 tackles in that game, which is absolutely abysmal for an inside linebacker. I don't care what game it is. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care what the offensive scheme was. 2 tackles by an inside linebacker is a poor performance. The box score that I have has him with 5 tackles. Again, but the problem I have is he had like 6 balls thrown over him. And that's the reason we were high on Martinez, was not only that he could come in and sort of solidify the inside linebacker position so that Clay Matthews could stay outside, but the fact that he has some of the skills, some of the speed to be able to defend against the pass. And that's one thing. So I'm not down on Martinez, but what I'm calling for is a bounce back game, and I think he's going to have it. There were a couple plays in this game where I thought Martinez was just simply out of position. The guy's a rookie, okay? So this is not a call out. This is not a down on him. But this is a call for a bounce back game by Martinez. I thought Jake Ryan had a phenomenal game. He had, I think, 6 tackles, 3 assists in this game. And I thought he had a fine game. And I think Martinez bounces back against the Colts. So, all right, well, that's kind of the offense and the defense. For right now, we're going to go into a lot more of that probably tomorrow about what we're going to have to do and keys to the game beating the Colts, which of course is a very important game. This is one we've got to have. This is a Lambeau Field game, and we have got to get it. So one of the things, and I think that is one of the absolute keys to this game. And that is the fact that we are playing at Lambeau Field. So all you, and I know there's probably some on here that are going to be there. If you're going to be there, you can mention it right now. You can rub it in our noses, and I'll give you a shout out if I see it, because it's up to, Lambeau Field is the best place on earth to play when you're a Packer or a Packer fan. And we need to amp up the noise. We need to get on these guys early, and we need to take this one to the house right off the bat. I think a fast start, again, is going to be important in this game. And I think closing it out may be important as well. This is one of those games against the Colts. And let's interact a little bit. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with my position on this. This is one of those games that, don't get me wrong, it's the W that's most important. All right? Don't get me wrong on this. But this is one we not only want to put up a W, but we want to drop a freaking 40-burger. We want to see Aaron Rodgers not just play well like he did in the last game. We want to see him absolutely pick apart and decimate a defense. We want to see him go out on the field and become the executioner like I've called him in the past. And this is the game to do it. To not only to build off the confidence we have coming off the Bears game, coming off a Falcons game, even though we were not able to come away with a W, we still have that motivation, and now we go back to Lambeau Field. And I'm glad that we're playing this. I think Lucas Oil Stadium, man, so many concussions. Alex Smith, when his head hit the turf, it was like concrete. I don't like that. I don't like the turf out there. And I think that went back to a playoff game with the Colts and the Chiefs as well, where they had concussion situation. I'm glad this is on the real turf. This is a real football game on a real field on real grass, partly real grass. I mean, there's other stuff stitched in and all that, now. Technologically advanced real grass. But this is a real outdoor game. It's going to be a good football game, and it's a great time for the Packers. But here's the thing, okay? Having said that I want them to absolutely demolish the Colts, there's going to be part of me, if this is a close game, that is really not satisfied. And again, thumbs up if you agree with that. If we don't destroy the Colts, there's part of me, I'm happy for the win, but I'm not quite going to be satisfied. Sherry is saying blowout. Otis has got a bold prediction. Rodgers 300. Jackson with a 75-yard rushing. That's a good one. I like that. Otis. And that's what I want to see. Because here's the deal, guys. Even if we beat the Colts, the Packers are still looking for the marquee win. Am I wrong about that? Even if we beat the Colts, would be a great win to have. It's another game we absolutely want to win. But even if we destroy the Colts, I will not see that as a marquee win, because here's what I'm still waiting for, and let me know if you agree. I'm still waiting for this Packers team to go out there and beat a good team. We have showed that we are good enough to beat a good team. We've showed that we have the personnel to beat a good team, but we have yet to go out and do it. You know, I'm talking about the Vikings. I'm talking about the Cowboys. I'm talking about the Falcons. Okay? And I want to see a marquee win, and you know which one I have circled, and that's that Eagles game. I don't know if you can hear the truck out front. And that's, Jason is saying the same thing. Philly is the game I've got circled. Now let me tell you, I could do an entire circle the stat on the Philadelphia versus the Cowboys game. The Cowboys were very lucky to eke out a win against the Philadelphia Eagles. That is a tough team. They brought it early and often. They gave Dak Prescott his first and worst game of the year. And they are going to be a tall order, and we have got to travel to do it. It's going to be a huge game. And I'm not looking far forward. Of course, as a fan, I have the right and ability to do that because I don't have to get out and play each game individually. But that's the game I've got circled on the horizon, and the Packers can gain some momentum with a nice win against the Colts and then a beautiful road run. That Tennessee Titans team is no one to be trifled with either at this point. So, Otis says Giants was a good win. Yeah, I watched the Giants in the preseason, and they looked like a college team. I was surprised at how well the Giants had been playing. I expect the Giants to truly tail off. So, but you know, I don't see the Giants as a marquee win. So if you've got good win as maybe just a slightly second tier to marquee, like marquee as in that's what you're starting to hang your hat on for the long run. And develop a marquee win is the one that you put out front. This is the sign that we hang out front that says this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it always. And you're going to have to stop it, and you're going to probably fear it. You're going to talk about it when you're going to write it up on the chalkboard. You're going to know what it is, and we're going to bring it every single game from now on because we now have developed an identity. That's what I mean by a marquee win. And the Giants game to me didn't do that. You know, the Cowboys game very much could have set that tone for us, I think. The Falcons game very much could have set that tone for me. So we will see. And somebody's mentioning, Washington is no one to be trifled with either. But again, we've got our hand on the steering wheel because of the way the NFC East is rolling up right now. Cowboys look like obviously the team to beat, and they're going to be hard to overcome in the NFC East. And the last thing we want to do is have some upstart in there. Obviously, if we win the North, we're fine. But if we can, if we don't want some upstart to start making things interesting in the East, and we certainly don't want to drop a game to an NFC East team right now. That would not be helpful at all. All right. So, guys, I will close it up with that. Of course, tomorrow we'll have the injury report come out today. I will check out. Maybe there was more I wanted to talk about. Oh, I did. I was going to actually, one of the things that's interesting, we talked about you can't sleep on the Colts. The Colts... They put up 35 on the Lions. They lost 39-35. They lost to the Broncos 34, but they put up 20 on the Broncos defense. They beat the Chargers, folks, 26-22. But then they turn around and lost. This is a team that you can't put your finger on. This team, they turn around and lose to the Jaguars 27-30. They came back and put up 29 on the Bears. So again, this is a team that can score points right up at. In fact, the Colts, even with the loss, they score more points than the Packers on average right now. They are scoring 26 points a game. Packers are only averaging 24.6 points a game. We cannot sleep on the Colts. The Texans beat them by 3, 26-23. The Titans also beat them the Colts beat the Titans 34-26. And again, that Titans team is not a bad team right now. And then, of course, the loss to the Chiefs. The Chiefs put a 30-burger up on them. And the question is, which direction is their needle pointed? The Colts are very hard to pin down right now. And that is why we can, even though this game is at Lambeau Field, we cannot sleep on the Colts. So, all right, well, the injury report comes out today. If there is some good news, I will probably post on it today and try and let you know so you don't have to wait till tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow or later this afternoon, we have some good news because, yes, some of these guys, we got to think, some of these guys are going to be coming back, and that's going to be good news for us to bolster a team that a team that just absolutely needs some help out there. There's one other thing. I'm going to stop because I want to find this and see if I want to make sure I'm right on this. We've got to cover Mathis. I almost forgot, guys. Vontae Davis went into concussion protocol in the game during the Chiefs. Now, that's their stud corner back there. That is a huge. I will try to keep you up to date on that. That's one of the guys for the Colts side that I will be looking at watching very closely. The Colts have a little bit of an injury situation themselves right now, and Vontae Davis would be a huge loss and a giant opportunity for the Packers. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes, and won't know till later today. So. All right, we got Felton Seeds says we need Montgomery back. I think Montgomery is proving to be a dynamic weapon. He did it early last season before the injury, and he's proven it again and again and again. I love how smart the guy is. He's such an interesting body type, a very fluid athlete, and I look forward to seeing him every time he gets out on the field. And really, I think among all the offensive players on our team right now, Ty Montgomery is the guy that I just have such an appreciation for him. I appreciate him as an athlete. I appreciate him as an intellectual. Because football it's a chess match out there. I appreciate him as he's willing to be a performer even when he's dinged up. And I too hope he can get back on the field. Is Cobb still out? Again, we're still not going to know for sure until today. I would expect Cobb to be able to play, but we will see what happened with that. You never know with those nagging injuries, and the same thing with Clay Matthews. You never know. It could easily be 2 weeks he's out. Same thing with Matthews. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But we'll see. What we'll probably hear is, that they maybe didn't, I would expect that they don't participate in practice, because then you have you run the risk of re-injuring it or straining it and being out for an extended period of time. So Bryce is saying he steps up. He'll be a leader one day. And I'm assuming you're talking about Ty Montgomery as well. And I completely agree with you, buddy. All right. Sherry is saying later, go Pack. I will say later to you guys. I hope you have a great day. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow we'll talk about the injury report. We'll have a football game to talk about with Thursday Night Football, and hopefully some good news on the injury front. Have a good day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Same Pack time, same Pack place. Go Pack.